Have you ever noticed that the harder you chase something, the further away it seems to get? It's like trying to catch your own shadow. The faster you run, the faster it moves away from you. What I'm about to share with you today completely changed how I see reality, and it might just blow your mind. Most people think they need to try harder, do more, and constantly search for answers to shift their reality. But what if I told you that this endless seeking is exactly what's keeping you stuck? The truth is, reaching higher states of consciousness isn't about adding more to your life. It's about letting go. And the less you desperately seek, the more naturally everything you want will find its way to you. This isn't just some nice idea. It's a fundamental law of how reality works. And today I'm going to show you exactly why. Right now, millions of people are stuck in a loop of constantly searching for answers. They jump from one spiritual teaching to another, try every manifestation technique they can find, and still feel like they're not getting anywhere. If you keep following this path of endless seeking, you'll stay trapped in the same patterns, feeling more and more frustrated as time goes on. You might even start thinking something's wrong with you because nothing seems to work. But here's the thing. The moment you understand what I'm about to share with you, everything changes. Your whole experience of reality shifts. That feeling of always chasing something just melts away. Instead of forcing things to happen, life starts flowing naturally. And the best part? This isn't about learning complicated techniques or changing who you are. It's about seeing through the illusion that's been keeping you stuck all along. Let's talk about what reality really is, because it's probably not what you think. Most of us grew up believing that reality is this solid, fixed thing that exists outside of us. We think we're just walking around in it, like actors on a stage. But that's not how it actually works at all. Reality is more like a mirror. It reflects back whatever state of consciousness you're operating from. Think about this. Have you ever been in a bad mood and suddenly everything seems to go wrong? The same exact world that felt magical yesterday now feels heavy and difficult. Nothing about your outer world actually changed. The only thing that shifted was your inner state. This isn't just positive thinking. This is how reality fundamentally works. Your consciousness is like a projector, and your life is the movie it's playing. Every thought, belief, and feeling you hold becomes the lens through which you see and experience everything. When you're stressed and worried, that lens makes everything look threatening and difficult. When you're peaceful and open, that same exact reality looks full of opportunities and possibilities. But here's where most people get stuck. They try to change the movie by messing with the projection on the screen. They focus all their energy on trying to force the outer world to change, without realizing that it's all coming from their own consciousness. It's like trying to make your reflection in the mirror smile by pushing on the glass. It just doesn't work that way. The biggest trick our minds play on us is making us think we're separate from reality, that there's an out there that's different from what's in here. But the truth is, everything you experience as reality is happening within your consciousness. Every person, every situation, every problem, and every solution, it's all appearing within you, not happening to you. This isn't some complicated spiritual concept. You can test this right now. Think about something that bothers you. Notice how that thought creates a feeling in your body. That feeling then colors how you see everything else. Your whole experience of reality just shifted, but nothing in the outside world changed at all. This is happening all day, every day, whether you notice it or not. Let's break down what higher consciousness actually is without all the fancy spiritual jargon. You know those moments when everything just feels right? When problems that usually bother you seem small, and you feel deeply okay with everything. That's a taste of higher consciousness. It's not about floating above the world or having magical powers. It's about seeing life clearly, without all the mental noise we usually carry around. Think of it like this. Your normal everyday awareness is like being in a small room with lots of stuff in it. You can only move around in certain ways, and you keep bumping into things. Higher consciousness is like stepping out into a huge open space. Nothing changed except your position, but suddenly you have so much more freedom to move and see things differently. The amazing thing about higher consciousness is that it's actually your natural state. It's not something you need to achieve or become. It's what's left when you stop getting in your own way. It's like the sun that's always shining above the clouds. The sun doesn't need to try to shine brighter. It just needs the clouds to part. This is why seeking harder doesn't work. You're already what you're looking for. When you're in higher consciousness, you feel a deep sense of peace and clarity. Problems don't disappear, but they stop feeling like problems. You know exactly what to do without having to figure it out. Life flows naturally, without all the struggle and effort we usually think we need. Here's something that might surprise you. You're already experiencing higher consciousness throughout your day. You just might not recognize it. Those moments when you're fully absorbed in something you love and time seems to disappear, that's it. When you have a sudden insight that solves a problem you've been struggling with. That's higher consciousness breaking through. Even that peaceful feeling you get early in the morning before your mind gets busy with all its thoughts and worries. That's higher consciousness. It's not some dramatic spiritual experience. It's actually very simple and ordinary. The only reason it feels special is that we spend so much time caught up in our thinking that we forget this natural state of clarity and peace. Now here's where it gets really interesting. The very act of seeking higher consciousness often becomes the biggest obstacle to experiencing it. It's like trying to see your own eyes without a mirror. The harder you try, the more impossible it becomes. When you're constantly searching for something, you're automatically assuming you don't have it. And that assumption itself keeps you from recognizing what's already here. Think about trying to fall asleep. The more you try to force yourself to sleep, the more awake you become. It's only when you stop trying and just rest that sleep naturally happens. Higher consciousness works the same way. The moment you stop trying to get somewhere else is often the moment you realize you're already where you needed to be. Your mind will tell you that you need to do more, learn more, or become more to experience higher consciousness. But this is just another trick of the mind. The mind loves complexity because it gives it something to do. It wants to turn everything into a project, a goal to achieve. But higher consciousness isn't something you can achieve through effort. It's what's already here when you stop efforting. Every time you think, I need to reach higher consciousness, you're actually moving away from it. Because that thought comes from a belief that you're not there yet, that something's missing. But nothing is missing. You're not broken or incomplete. The only thing blocking you from experiencing your natural state is the belief that you need to get somewhere else. Instead of seeking, try allowing. Instead of reaching for something new, notice what's already here. When you're not trying to make anything happen, when you're not resisting what is, you naturally shift into higher consciousness. It's like finally relaxing a muscle you didn't even know you were tensing. This might sound too simple to be true. Your mind might be saying, but don't I need to do something? That's just the habit of seeking, try to maintain itself. The shift happens when you see through this habit, when you realize that all you're seeking has been like a dog chasing its tail. The moment you stop chasing is the moment you realize what you were looking for was never separate from you in the first place. Think about water. It naturally finds its own level when you stop disturbing it. Your consciousness works the same way. When you stop trying to force it into some imagined higher state, it naturally settles into its true nature. This doesn't mean you become passive or stop taking action in your life. It means your actions come from a place of clarity and peace rather than seeking and struggle. Now that you understand how higher consciousness naturally works, let's talk about some simple things you can do to get out of your own way. Remember, we're not trying to achieve anything new. We're just creating spaces where your natural state can shine through. Think of these practices like opening windows in a dark room. You're not creating the light. You're just letting it in. The first practice is what I call thought watching. For a few minutes each day, just notice your thoughts without trying to change them. Don't judge them as good or bad. Don't try to push them away. Just watch them like you're watching clouds pass in the sky. This simple practice helps you start seeing that you're not your thoughts. You're the awareness that notices them. Another powerful practice is taking what I call consciousness breaks. Set a gentle reminder on your phone for 3 random times during the day. When it goes off, just pause for a moment and notice your surroundings. Feel your feet on the ground. Hear the sounds around you. Notice your breathing. This brings you out of your busy mind and into the present moment, where higher consciousness naturally exists. One of the most effective things you can do is simply do less. This doesn't mean becoming lazy or unproductive. It means stopping all the extra mental activity that isn't actually necessary. When you're eating, just eat. When you're walking, just walk. When you're listening to someone, just listen. Stop trying to figure everything out all the time. Most people constantly add more to their lives, more information, more techniques, more goals. But shifting into higher consciousness is about subtraction, not addition. It's about letting go of what's in the way. Notice how much mental energy you spend worrying about things you can't control, replaying past events, or imagining future scenarios. Just noticing this creates natural spaces of peace and clarity. Working with higher consciousness is like learning to dance with life instead of trying to control it. Start noticing the natural rhythms in your day. There are times when you naturally feel more clear and peaceful, maybe early morning or late at night. These are your windows of opportunity, times when it's easier to shift into higher consciousness. Don't force yourself to meditate for an hour if that feels like a struggle. Instead, work with your natural rhythms. Maybe you feel most clear during your morning coffee, or while taking a shower, or just before bed. Use these times to practice being present. Let these moments of natural clarity expand on their own. One of the biggest blocks people face is turning higher consciousness into another achievement to unlock. If you catch yourself thinking, "I'm not there yet," or "I need to try harder," that's the achievement trap at work. Remember, you're not trying to get anywhere new. You're just noticing what's already here. This trap shows up in subtle ways. Maybe you compare your experience to what others describe, or you keep waiting for some dramatic spiritual experience. Maybe you think you need to feel peaceful all the time. These expectations actually block you from recognizing the higher consciousness that's already present in your ordinary experiences. Another common block is getting caught in what I call the overthinking loop. You think about higher consciousness, then you think about your thinking, then you think about your thinking about thinking. It becomes this endless mental loop that actually takes you further away from the simple clarity you're looking for. This is like trying to see your face by looking at your eyes in the mirror, then trying to see your eyes looking at your eyes, and so on. The more you try to figure it out mentally, the more tangled you become. The way out is simple. Just stop. Let your mind rest. Let yourself not know for a while. Clarity comes in the spaces between thoughts, not from more thinking. Many people unconsciously resist higher consciousness because it threatens their comfort zone. Even if your current state isn't particularly happy, it's familiar. Your mind knows how to operate there. Moving into higher consciousness means letting go of old patterns and ways of seeing things, and that can feel uncomfortable at first. Notice if you find yourself saying things like, "This is too simple," or "It can't be this easy." That's often your comfort zone, trying to keep you in familiar territory. The shift into higher consciousness sometimes feels like falling or letting go, and your mind might resist that. Remember, this resistance is normal. Just noticing it loosens its hold. When you start experiencing more moments of higher consciousness, certain changes happen naturally. You might notice that things that used to bother you don't have the same grip anymore. Problems don't disappear, but they stop feeling so personal and heavy. You find yourself responding to situations instead of reacting to them. One subtle but powerful sign is that you start having more gaps in your thinking. These are moments when your mind naturally falls quiet, and you feel a simple sense of being. You might notice these gaps while doing ordinary things, washing dishes, waiting in line, or just sitting quietly. These moments might be brief at first, but they tend to expand on their own. Another clear sign is that you start experiencing more flow in your life. Things that used to feel like a struggle start happening more easily. You find yourself in the right place at the right time more often. Solutions to problems often appear naturally, without you having to figure everything out. It's like life starts helping you instead of feeling like something you have to push against. This flow isn't something you can force or control. In fact, trying to control it usually breaks the flow, but you can notice when it's happening and learn to trust it more. Pay attention to those times when things just seem to work out smoothly by themselves. That's higher consciousness in action. There's no fixed timeline for these changes because you're not actually developing something new. You're simply noticing and allowing what's already true. Some shifts might happen immediately, while others unfold gradually. The key is not to turn this into another goal with deadlines and expectations. Instead of looking for big dramatic changes, notice the small shifts. Maybe you catch yourself smiling more often for no particular reason. Maybe you notice that you're less caught up in drama and conflict. Maybe you find yourself naturally wanting healthier things. These subtle changes are often more significant than the dramatic experiences people sometimes chase after. Moving through life from higher consciousness isn't about escaping your normal life. It's about bringing this new awareness into everything you do. When you're at work, doing chores, or dealing with everyday problems, you can still operate from this clearer space. It's like having your feet on the ground while your head is in a clearer sky. Start with simple daily activities. When you're drinking water, feel the sensation fully. When you're walking to your car, notice the air on your skin. When you're talking to someone, really listen without planning what to say next. These aren't spiritual practices. They're just ways of being more fully present in your normal life. You don't have to choose between being spiritual and being practical. Higher consciousness actually makes you more effective in the real world, not less. You'll find yourself making better decisions, not because you're trying harder, but because you're seeing more clearly. You'll handle problems more easily because you're not adding extra mental stress to them. Think of it like learning to drive. At first, you had to think about every little move, but now you just drive naturally while being aware of everything around you. Living from higher consciousness becomes just as natural. You'll still think and plan when needed, but you won't be lost in thoughts all the time. This new awareness changes how you handle everything. In conversations, you'll notice when you're getting defensive and can choose to respond differently. At work, you'll see when you're making things more complicated than they need to be. In relationships, you'll catch yourself before reacting from old patterns. The key is to be patient with yourself. Some days you'll feel very clear and connected. Other days you might feel caught up in old patterns. This is normal. Instead of judging yourself, just notice what's happening. Every time you notice, you're already shifting back into higher consciousness. Everything we've talked about today points to one simple truth. Higher consciousness isn't something you achieve. It's your natural state beneath all the seeking and struggling. The less you try to get somewhere else, the more you find yourself exactly where you need to be. It's not about adding more knowledge or techniques to your life. It's about letting go of what's blocking your natural clarity. Remember, the signs of this shift are often subtle. You might notice more peaceful moments in your day. Problems that used to overwhelm you start feeling manageable. You find yourself naturally responding to life instead of reacting to it. These small changes are actually huge shifts in how you experience reality. Don't turn this into another self-improvement project. You're not broken and you don't need fixing. All the peace, clarity, and wisdom you're looking for is already within you. It's just covered up by layers of seeking, thinking, and trying too hard. As you let these layers naturally fall away, what you've been looking for reveals itself effortlessly. The paradox is beautiful. The less you seek, the more you find. The less you try to control life, the more naturally it flows. The less you try to reach higher consciousness, the more you notice it's already here. This isn't just a nice theory. Test it for yourself. Start noticing what happens when you stop trying so hard to make things happen. If you resonated with this message, the best thing you can do is simply start noticing. Notice when you're seeking. Notice when you're at peace. Notice when you're making things complicated. Don't try to change anything. Just notice. This simple awareness is enough to start the shift. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. Every time you shift into higher consciousness, even for a moment, you make it easier for others to do the same. Your clarity contributes to the clarity of the whole. So take this understanding into your day and watch how reality shifts naturally when you stop seeking and start noticing what's already here. If this video helped you see things differently, give it a like and share your experiences in the comments below. Let me know which aspect of higher consciousness you'd like to explore more deeply. Remember to subscribe to join our community of conscious creators and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more videos like this one. Thank you for being here, for being open to this message, and for doing your part in raising the consciousness of our world. Until next time, stay present, stay peaceful, and remember, everything you're looking for is already within you.